also rule does apply. Yes, you're on Twitch Prime. They're hatting. Technically, a tank can be pink. You can do that. You don't need camo if you want it. Cool. If anything, you can add in the concealed condition if you have the right camo. Can you go to war in the pink tank for Mother Russia? Nothing's stopping you if your game master wants to do that. But you don't play games. And I distinctly know that. Because you do not play our tabletop RPGs. So let's see. I also added in all the various kinds of ammo. I could go really autistic and add in like bunches of different kinds of ammo, but overall I'm limiting it down to armor-piercing, high explosive squash heads, and high explosive anti-tanks, which all do slightly different things to the enemy. Yeah, Hesh ammo is probably some of the most dangerous because it does a lot of damage to the crew, potentially killing some of them if you get really unlucky on. If they get really lucky on their rolls, even if they don't kill you with them. And let's see some other... Did I add anything else? I don't believe I did. Actually, can I bump you up to 12? What happens when I bump you up to 12? Everything falls apart. Oh, God. No. Go back to 10. So, if we go all the way down... Japanese crew, we're going to be working on this little section right here. That's a heavy machine gun. Yeah, 50 cal would be a heavy machine gun, not exactly a fucking tank cannon. Now these are like your main gun. Exactly, and that's the point of the heavy machine gun, is to make sure the enemies do not kill you with. Because infantry is actually kind of scary in its own way because they can rush you and yeah. And hit you with anti-tank stuff. Hell, a few good anti-tank hits can actually knock out a lot of your systems really fast. And mostly your treads, which can leave you sitting duck, and you don't have your 2-hit penalty anymore. And then they can hit you and kill you horribly. This is why you invest in soldiering, kids, so you can fend off the very angry Russians jumping on your tank to Molotov you inside of it. Remember, kids. Big thing time. So what are we doing now? So some of the extra checks what I should do is do extra treads. How do I want to word this? The following sections are dedicated to customizing your Iron Caskets experience to the preferred type of game. To the preferred type of game of all players. The base assumption of Iron Caskets That's technically incorrect. For those wondering, the question asked was, are tanks basically metal cylinders filled with fuel? So therefore, you can get a tank of fuel, stick a track on it, and call it a tank. Outside of butchering the English language. I think I believe my friend Hatton here is actually from New Zealand, the distant, far-off land that doesn't speak the English very well. But no. Effectively, what a tank is a very large vehicle. It's an armored vehicle that protects the crew inside and protects the gun, you can effectively say. So, you can have some unique tank designs, such as like an AT tank, technically, which is just a anti-aircraft gun slapped onto a tank shell. Or you can have things like the flamethrower tanks and the Flammenwerfers in good old World War II, which was not terribly common, but common enough that the Soviets used them quite often. Mostly in, the Germans used them against the Soviets for a lot of different reasons, but mostly just because Germans. No, you're just spamming my chat with crappy emojis. This is my life. So, let's see. The base assumption of Iron Caskets is that the characters are fragile. Tanks are moving caskets. And that death is an inevitability. However, every campaign is unique. Whether playing in the far future, I would really hope they have tanks in World of Tanks. It's kind of false advertising if they don't. Every campaign is unique, whether playing in the far future, the distant past, or just rolling out. Going off strict technicality, there are fuel tanks in the game. You cannot deny that fact. There are fuel tanks, and they get hit quite often and explode, killing everyone inside violently. Reason number 700 why being in a tank sucks. Whether playing for future distant paths or just rolling out in the 21st century. Being dashing heroes or expendable cannon fodder. However, campaign is unique. With playing in far future, the distant past, being dashing heroes or expendable cannon fodder. Every campaign needs something to give it that extra flavor. The following rules are my attempt to give that flavor where flavor is needed. Unique crewmen and heroes. Throughout the campaign, unique and special individuals may decide to be a part of the regiment or join the tank commanders in their fight. These unique crewmen have special attributes or skills that allow them to perform actions better. Well, you would bleed to death by the time you ate half of yourself. So, question being asked is, if I eat myself, would I become twice as big or disappear completely? Or more accurately, completely? That's vor, my friend. We don't tolerate that Coomer stuff here. On the other hand, technically, if you were to devour yourself, you'd be dead before you even thought about it. I mean, if you ate your arms first, then ate your legs, you're going to be able to eat really anything else. Oh no, he's retarded. Oh wait, I can't say that in the 21st century. Oh no, he is mentally handicapped. Asking really dumb questions in my game about tanks. These unique crewmen have special attribute skills that allow them to perform actions better or give unique bonuses. And we'll just give it a small list. The old tanker. There's a mummy tank and a daddy tank. How comes there is no baby tank? But my dear friend, there are baby tanks. Technically, this is the Type 94 tankette. Little tiny baby tanks. We have the TKS. We have this ridiculous, the Renault. More TK3. Yeah, these little... Yeah, there are baby tanks. Don't doubt that. Again, the world of heavy armored warfare is a very unique and exciting adventure, otherwise known as filled with a lot of things that were really good thoughts at the time, ended really dumb. I'm getting phone calls. Oh no, living. So you learned something new. You learned something new today about tankettes. What's better to learn, American, British, or English? Well, by technicality, you want to learn English, because American has too much slang in it, British has too much slang in it, so you want to learn English basic. There's a reason the term's called ESL, English Second Language. I mean, technically, if you are speaking English, you should be learning a second language that is more popular, such as Hindi or Chinese, ni hao. That's what I'm trying to pick up personally, because Chinese is a weird language. Maybe saying, but you're a weeb, Notepad. Shouldn't you be trying to learn glorious Nihon? Yeah, I tried that for a bit. I still have all my kana in a notebook, but I was lazy and didn't continue with it like I should have, because I'm a lazy boy. So we actually have some new viewers here. So what we're working on is a game called Iron Caskets. It's about driving around in your giant tank, fighting people in tanks. And the individual I'm talking to in chat, El Hatton here, is a moron and also my friend. So I'm not insulting him and his intelligence. I'm just insulting his intelligence in a nice way. I'm also drinking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm still going to insult you. But we're currently working on adding unique crewmen and heroes. So the old character, this crewman. Technically, there's two ways of doing the 2 + 2 = 5. There's the 1984 method, which is you just beat it in someone's head that 2 + 2 = 5. And then there's this very convoluted math problem you can do to technically make it true that 2 + 2 = 5. It's like theoretical math bullshit. Veteran tanker of an old technically no. Veteran tank criminal war. They're far more they are more fragile than other crew members. The crewmen is veteran tank crew in old war. They're more fragile than other crew members, having only one health. Well, they start with 5 skill points distributed. So these guys are gonna probably fucking die if anything actually even hits them. But that's kind of the point. Oh yeah, dog. This crewman is a dog. They can't operate any machinery. Actually assist. They can operate any machinery or actually assist with the piloting of the tank. However, they give every roll a +1. What a good boy. I want some other soldier of fortune. This crewman is a warrior through and through. They've dedicated their life to perfecting the art of conflict and bloodshed. They've dedicated their life to perfecting the art of conflict and bloodshed. They cannot gain any skills in any. They cannot gain any skills in anything. Other than soldier or medic. Because you're forming a ring around something. God, what's... Oh, yeah. It's in fact a bear. They can't operate any machinery other than loading. Why do the numbers on a phone go one way and the numbers on a calculator go the other? What are you smoking, mate? They can't operate any machinery other than loading the main gun. And they take up to... They take up 2 crew members. What? They are also a bear. So they start with 5 skill in soldier. Very carefully. I mean, you can always just look at, you know, whatever, Stephanie Myers. No, that's not her. J.K. Rowling's Twitter, and you'll just magically become gay. Bippity boppity boo, you're now But they also are bear, so they start with 5 skill and soldier. Oh, let's see. Oh, the old tanker, dog, soldier of fortune. This crewman is an old-fashioned, and decided rebellious cowboy, the soul of the Wild West. They have a +1 to skill in mechanic and soldier, but a -1 skill in everything else. They're a cowboy, not a tank boy. The kid. This crewman is a literal child. maybe about 12 to 15. 12 to 15. Why doesn't the earth fall down, I am asked. Well, there's a variety of reasons. Which one do you want to know about? Why doesn't the earth collapse in upon itself? Why don't we fling ourselves into the sun? Why does gravity exist? Go for it. I want answers. Go a crewman slot. That they can only have a skill of a max of 2. They can only have 3 skills at a maximum of 2. Basic assumption, the following rules. Where was I? Alright, so we got this section down. So we're going to do Fate, Destiny, and playing the main character. Fate, Destiny, and playing the main characters. Iron Caskets is a deadly game. One where characters can very easily die of a single mistake, or find themselves a smoldering carcass in a stroke of bad luck. To prevent unfortunate accidents, consider using one of the 2 methods: Fate and Destiny. Fate. The fate of the regiment is a shared pool of points that the tank commanders can use to pull themselves out of deadly situations or unfortunate circumstances. Adios, Luke. Pool points that the tank commanders can use to pull themselves out of deadly situations or unfortunate circumstances. When the tank commander uses a piece of fate, they are able to re-roll one of their die. Ignore damage from a single attack. Prevent a crew member from dying. However, when problems arise, the characters are rewarded fate for suffering through it. Ambushes, supply problems, Russian winters, and a plethora of other problems can and will occur. The players to reward them additional fate. The average starting amount of fate for the regiment is 5. Destiny. The destiny of the tank commander is an individual set of resources that allows them to pull themselves out of danger when they are feeling threatened, as it is their destiny, quote unquote, to not be affected by it. Using destiny, a tank commander can reroll one of their die. Can actually reroll all of their die. Roll their dice. Ignore damage for the entire round, or prevent a crew member from dying. Destiny cannot be earned back. When the commander passes away, remaining destiny does not follow them. The next commander will have the base amount of destiny -1. -1. The starting amount of destiny for the average character is 5. So you pretty much can pull yourself. Pretty much the difference is fate is you have 5 points to effectively distribute among all your players. So it's them like, oh, I want to use this to reroll my one bad die. I want to use this to reroll this, or I want to use that. But you can also get them back by virtue of you, the game master, fucking them over. Punch them in the dick. Punch them in the gut. Doesn't matter. Keep hitting them. It's more amusing that way. What it isn't for is, oh well, I hit you once. Let me out here take some fate. No, it's when things go really bad. Destiny, on the other hand, is not. The more you die, the less destiny you're getting. So a smart player is going to want to kind of keep their initial commander alive a little bit more and not get thrown into those situations where they have the potential of exploding violently and dying. Let's see, we want... Technically, you should be heading to... Tipperary. For suffering it to be affected as their destiny as it is their destiny to not be affected by it. Alright, perfect. And with that done, we're going to go to arcade mode. Arcade mode. Iron Caskets is a fairly detailed game when it comes to specific aspects of combat and tanks. If the War Master desires a faster paced game, feel free to employ arcade mode. And what are we going to do with arcade mode? We're going to change some of the how combat works. And let's go all the way up. Increase mobility by 2. Increase armor on all sides by 2. Turning does not consume additional movement. Just the crew member acting. Turret does not need to be aimed. As long as the enemy is in distance, it can hit the target. Main gun does not suffer penalties to hit for the current speed the character's tank is going. All crew members have plus 10 health. Tank can still move even if engine, transmission, or actually engine or transmission. Is destroyed. Ammunition does not require a roll to load a new one. All support is 5 logistics cheaper. And so then we're going to slower advancement. We don't really need that anymore. So we're going to do arrows of tanks. It's actually went a little bit faster than arrows of armored warfare. From rolling coffins to walking tanks. The term armored vehicle has been in service for over a century at this point. Whether in the form of armored wagons, armored cars, to the titular tank. However, as with all war, things change. This section is to describe various sections and notes for what I would consider the 4 main eras of armored warfare. 5 main eras of armored warfare. Oh, God. My leg. World War I. Pre-modern armored warfare. World War I saw the rapid advancement, technology, warfare doctrine, and tactics in the field. The war started with marching in formation and ended in bloody trench warfare. This was also the birth of the tank in some ways. Early tanks were little more than bunkers on treads, able to poor maneuverability, relatively thin armor, and a daring crew who knew they were in a rolling bathtub. When designing a World War One era tank, consider the following. Reduce all mobility by 2 for all frames. Reduce armor on all frames by 2. No super heavy tanks. Increase crew amount by 2. Only small and large main guns are allowed. No radio. Because remember, World War I didn't really have a plethora of radios in it. It was it was more classical than that, let's say. You know, your commander didn't radio over and say, okay, we gotta move here, here, here. No, it was, you heard the whistle and you charged. Okay. World War II. Modern armored warfare. Prototypes. Prototyping. Design and understanding. Designing and understanding. Perfecting armored warfare. At the onset of World War II, the presence of armor in the military was assured. Large battles, devastating consequences, and holy thunder met many of those who refused to adopt, or were unable to counter mass armored warfare. This was also the time for experimentation and pushing the doctrine of what it means to witness armored war. From blitzkrieg to mass production. World War II and the years after were a time were to prototype, experiment, and find what worked. When designing a World War II era tanks, use the base rules of Iron Caskets as they were written with World War II tanks in mind. Keep in mind the technology, which brings me to modernized armored war. Actually, modern Modern era. Modern armored warfare. Modern armored warfare. With the dawn of the new century, and plenty of war and carnage behind the human race, humanity, it's easy to see why high armored warfare advanced so far. Pop, pop, pop. They advanced so far. Keeping, following in the doctrines, experiments, prototypes, types of the previous era. Modern armored warfare is a blitz of fast acting, heavy hitting, and decidedly overwhelming armored assaults. Mixed combined arms came to rule the day. With armored cores becoming an essential part of keeping the infantry safe and support. When designing a modern era tank, you keep these rules in mind. Increase mobility by 2. Increase armor by 1. Decrease crew amount by 2. All kinds of things like technology, radios, support equipment. And support equipment are uncommon in the modern era, so their cost of hard points are reduced by 1. Actually, I'm curious. So, this is an M1 Abrams. How much does it cost to... Ah. 6.21 million. Ah. Or about 9 million. M1A2 Abrams battle tank. Our cost and maintenance of said tanks. All hard points are increased by 1. Double the amount of hard points. increased by 2. Yeah, let's see. So, let's tank cost. So, in $1945 to produce a single M4 Sherman, it was about $45,000 to $65,000, and again the M1A1 Abrams tank cost was $6.21 million. So yeah, a little bit more expensive overall. But again, you got a lot more toys in it, so I want to represent that by hard points. If I can click all the wrong buttons real fast. Presence, devastating consequences, armored warfare, designing as they are written. And 3, decidedly overwhelming, designing modern era tank. Okay, there we go. And then we get to postmodern era. Tanks of the future. Tanks of the future. As we advance as a society, so must our weapons of war. The tank is no different. Even now in the 21st century, rapid advancements in technology, making it, it's making it easier than design brand new weapons and deploy them for use. When making a postmodern era tank, use the modern era as a basic outline, but feel free to add unique weapons such as gauze cannons, high impacts, lasers, integrated fire support systems, or even drone-operated tankers. And then we have science fiction. Blaster and hover tanks. In the far future, the concept of armored warfare will most likely persist. Thus, with new technology comes new integrations, new weapons, and better armors. When designing a tank for a science fiction era, consider what makes it unique. Be it unique propulsion, legs, hovering, etc., and what kind of weapons it will employ. Tanks and vertical and hover tanks. Kind of a cop out on these two, but it's like obviously we don't have science fiction vertical tanks So there's not much we can really do in that regard. But what I can do is I'm going to write a side note called Side Note on Mecha. I want to pilot a mech. And that's okay. That's okay. Larger focus on the more Western interpretation of mechs rather than the Eastern variety, to allow multiple crew members to exist on board and assist with operations. Having legs instead of treads does put the mech at a unique risk. Risk of collapse and not being able to easily repair. But it also doubles as a better way of maneuvering past difficult terrain. Increase hard points mounts, but any driving check to maintain control or maneuver is every driving check target number to maintain control or maneuver is increased by 5. So you're pretty much making it harder for everyone. If you want to like rapidly speed up or rapidly stop your mech, it's going to be harder to do because you are around a walking mech, and that's not easy. Square cube law notwithstanding. And we're going to do insert table right here, post on mecha. And this brings us to... I'm going to take out fantastic tank designs because I kind of already addressed it. And now we're going to do the Sensha-Do Rules. Gurus und Panzer. Sensha-Do. Alright. It was requested. It was demanded. Here's your Kawaii tank rules. Here's your Kawaii tank rules. Pravada for life. Down. Up with T-34s. Down with Panzers. There we go. Managed to piss everyone off by citing that the Pravada's Girls High School is better than everyone else's. But, okay, so... Okay, so, competition format, elimination battles, flag battles. Render all... Actually, what I'm going to do is 1-02 competition format. Elimination all opposing vehicles. Inoperable. And flag battles. Render the opposing team's flag vehicle, flag carrier, designated beforehand, inoperable. Tournaments are in a knockout format. Round one matches are determined by random. 202. Sensha-Do. Welcome to I'm pretty much copy pasting this. Yes, I am. But this is kind of what depending on the league. Yeah. Teams may not field more tanks, more vehicles than designated. It is possible and allowed to field fewer vehicles than designated. Map location. Boundaries will be determined by the league. Access to the battlefield. I should get maps and details of the area. They are also designated no fire zones, like schools, malls, and businesses. Should there be objections to the battlefield, they may forward it to lead with the 24 minute upon the liberation will be made. Actually, what I'm gonna put a little for purposes of purposes of Iron Caskets, the players may veto a single map in the rotation. Yeah, they get to veto a single one. That means they might have to go on a second map that's even worse. So, for purposes of Iron Caskets, if one wants to maintain balance, consider going off of weight of the, actually no. For purposes of Iron Caskets, if there is a situation which demands another participant and a player player or character is not available, feel free to create a AI character that will work in tandem with the players. The following. Oh, God. Ah. That. For the purposes of Iron Caskets. You can't purchase additional hard points or modify the tanks once they have been created. Armored mantlets. Why? Okay. For the purpose for Iron Caskets, all tanks have +1 armor on every side. A +1 armor on every side. If a section is if any section of a tank is destroyed, the league approval system renders league system triggers the tank inoperable. If fuel tanks are ruptured, tanks are even damaged, they immediately fuel tanks, ammo casing, or any part or any crew member is seriously hurt, the tank is rendered immobilized, knocked out. What that is effectively saying is, if there is something that can kill you and will kill you, it'll kill you. Like, yeah, so you don't really want your fuel tanks to get hit. That's kind of one of those essential parts, because if you're looking at it, you have to wonder, like, if you get hit from the back, for example, you have to then distribute that damage everywhere except your fuel tanks and your crew. Because if your crew gets hurt, actually what I should do is my crew is seriously hurt, reduced to 0 HP, the tank is rendered immobilized and knocked down. So it's pretty much like you always have to kind of balance how you are doing things. If you want to push it a little bit too far, you can knock yourself out really fast, because it's just like, oh, well, I'll just put some damage on my ammo tanks because I can deal with that. Like, you can't. Because if your ammo tank, if your ammo rupture is about to rupture, they're just going to kill your tank. And you're like, nope, you're done. You're out. The team is limited. In Iron Casket terms, all characters have access to league rounds, LRs, which have no special benefit. In addition to a combination of 20 armor-piercing rounds, 10 HESH, 10 HE, HE rounds, AP rounds, 10 HE rounds, and 5 heat rounds. You notice I don't put squash heads because squash heads are specifically designed to kill crew. So they probably wouldn't give the okay to that. Give me 1 second. And 5 heat round. Nice. You have to distribute that among all of your team. To be distributed among the team. Conditions for victory, elimination battle. Oh, crew members abandoned their tank. Iron Casket terms. When the tank has been knocked out, you can when the tank has been knocked out, it is no longer functional and cannot be repaired. As long as it is functional, it can be repaired. So what that's effectively in there to say you can't just say, oh well I'm dead, but no I'm not. I'm gonna burn all my mechanics on it and heal up to full health because lol. No, you can't do that. I should put on throwing the match. Girls und Panzer, Sensha-Do. Alright, it was requested, it was demanded, here's your quad tank rules. Oh, didn't mean to hit that button. Yoink. Let's see if everything's actually... Yeah. No longer participate in the battle. Participants will... Battlefield via whatever transport vehicles available on prohibited actions. I'd go up here. Anything is fair game in the boundaries. Girls in the Kampfzug. Okay, let's kill the Sensha-Do tournament. Sensha-Do. Alright, so... let's... ancient art. Actually, side note. Right, on your own league. On your own league. The rules presented are the personal rules of the JSDL. It's just the JSDL, is that correct? JSF. Of the JSF. Japanese Sensha-Do Federation. However, Sensha-Do is also a worldwide phenomenon, meaning that separate countries can have separate rules. Feel free to add in unique leagues, competitions, battles, concepts into your Girls und Panzer game. For example, infantry assault, battle type. Two team pitted against each other in a King of the Hill scenario where only their infantry designated Sensha-Do Federation members or can successfully hold. The goal is to hold the point for a total of 1 minute, actually of 15 minutes, or until one team's infantry is completely wiped out. Only infantry and machine guns can target other infantry. And downing individuals uses high velocity steam paintball rounds to designate in and out. So effectively what you're supposed to do is keep your squads alive and desperately try to hold the town while trying to knock out enemy tanks. And the thing is, you can't fire on them using your high explosive rounds exactly, because that would be killing them. But what you can do, on the other hand, is provide support, knock cover down, keep people alive, cover people using. It's like your goal as a tank in this is support. It's just like, can you play support? Can you coordinate with your fellow infantry squads, and can you successfully, win the day? That's kind of your. It's primarily about Sensha-Do. However, it's what tanks are really designed for. Support. for example. Okay. So, we've ripped through extra treads. I'm going to have to add a few pictures to this probably, just to clean everything up. But, if I hit this, we are at 57 pages. And if we go to our tools word count, we are at 11,215 words. So, we've actually wrapped up Iron Caskets today. This is it. One of those games where I could probably sit back and add a whole lot of more stuff to it and go really far into detail on things, but I don't really feel I need to. I might add a little bit of stuff that doesn't really justify me being on stream for, and I might not. So, what's next time? I don't quite know yet. I'm going to have to work on that, and most likely I won't be streaming tomorrow, but probably the day after, probably on Friday then. And I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. If you liked it, feel free to leave me a follow. If you want to catch up, if you came in halfway or something like that, feel free to go to my YouTube channel, which is Notepad Add-on, where I upload all my streams eventually. And let's see, that's pretty much it. We have successfully wrapped up another project. Iron Caskets is complete. And thank you all very much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time, everyone. Goodbye.